Hi, I'm Kelly from Kelly J Jewellery. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this pendant. I've had to split it up into lots of parts because it was so long. So this is part one, this is the beginning of part one, and it's been split up into 3 videos. So I'll put links to the other 2 in the description below. So let's get started. To make this pendant you'll need 0.7mm wire, which is 21 gauge, and you can go 0.8, which is 20 if you want to. I've cut 6 lengths at 13 inches, that's 33 centimetres. My weaving wire is 0.25, that's 30 gauge, so you can go 0.315, which is 28 gauge if you want to, because that's what I used to go for before, but I've gone like a step thinner recently. I've wound mine onto, if I can pick it up, wound mine onto a bobbin. This is a Bobeeze bobbin by Beadsmith. You just wind your wire in there and then that sits down by your side as you're working. It just makes it easier with working with the longer lengths. If you don't have one, don't worry, you can just cut lengths as you go. I'll put the measurement on the screen. So stones, I've got this cute moon today. So this is 30mm wide. So if it was a circle, it would probably be about 30mm. This bulk of the body here is 15mm. The little stone as well, because we're using 2 stones today. My little stone is a teardrop, so you can use an oval or a round shape if you want to. My teardrop is 15mm long and just 6mm wide, so it's quite tiny. So for wrapping the smaller stone we're going to need the thinner wire. So I've got 0.6mm wire just there, 0.6mm wire, and I've got 4 lengths at 6 inches, which is 15 centimeters, and I'll be using some of the 0.25 off the reel because I think I've wound enough on there. Again, I'll add any difference to the measurements on the screen. So 2 different gauges today. So tools, I've got my pliers, round nose pliers, wire cutters and nylon pliers. If you don't have nylon pliers, don't worry. I just like having these for straightening the wires and flattening the weaves, and we're going to be doing a lot of big weaves today, so they are handy. These were only cheap, these are prestige, and you can keep changing the little nylon ends there. I think it's time I change mine. So those are really handy to have. I do recommend having those. My pliers are Tronex. I'll put a list of all these in the description below. People keep asking me which pliers these are. These are needle nose and they are P521. So there we go. Yeah, I'll put a list of everything, all of this, in the description below. So let's get to it. So let me just draw it down and make it just a bit easier to see and maybe memorise. This is the big weave that we're going to do around the moon. So we've got 6 wires, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to start with 3 wraps around the bottom wire. So that's 3 wraps. Start with 3 wraps around the bottom wire. Then we go 3 wraps around the bottom 2 wires. Then we go around these 2, so we're going around the 2nd and the 3rd wire. Then we go around the 2nd, 3rd and the 4th wires. Then we go around the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th wires. And then we go around the top 4. So how we're going to do this, I will show you in just a moment. This is just so you can see what I'm doing. And we do the same thing on the way back down. We go around the middle 4, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. We go around the 2nd, 3rd and 4th. We go around those 2, which is the 2nd and the 3rd. We go 3 wraps around the bottom 2, 3 wraps around the bottom wire. Does that make sense? Oh, let's just have a look. So don't worry about trying to work that out. I'll show you now. I'm just trying to show you in advance so it's a little bit easier to remember. So we're going to start weaving 5.5 inches from the beginning of your wires. So cut your wires to the lengths that I have, and measure 5.5 inches, and we'll start weaving there. Let's leave some weaving wire at the beginning in case we need to add more weaves. So let's leave 12 inches. So reel off about 12 inches to the left, and we'll start weaving from there. So from that part we're going to wrap 3 times around the bottom wire. So we're going to wrap 3 times around 2 wires. Oh, it's a lot of wires, isn't it, today? 3 wraps around 2 wires. So then we come up between those 2 wires and we go around the next 2. So we're going around the second and the third. Then we come up between the bottom 2 again. So we keep coming up between the bottom 2 wires for a bit. So then we go around 3 wires, second, third and fourth. Come up between the bottom 2 again. Then we go around 4 wires, so go between the top 2. Then we come up between the second and the third. And we go around the top 4 wires. Then we do the same thing on the way back down. So we come up between the bottom 2 and we go around the middle 4. And we come up between the bottom 2 again. If you can hear loads of noise, that's our Gracie snoring. Then we go around 3. Second, third and fourth. Come up between those bottom 2 again and we go around 2. So we're going around the second and the third. Then we go 3 times around the bottom 2 wires. Then we go 3 wraps around the bottom wire. I've not seen this weave before. Say I haven't taken this weave from anywhere. I just thought it would look pretty, and it gives us a nice gap at the bottom there if we do need to attach in when we're attaching everything in a bit. So push that together, and I like to flatten my weave. So that's what our repeat looks like so far. You can change this for a different weave if you want to. You don't have to do this weave. I just thought it would be something a bit interesting. So we need to do quite a few of this weave. I'll do it again with you now, but we need to go all the way around the bottom end of the stone, so we need quite a few repeats of it. So we've already got the 3 around the bottom. So now we go 3 times around 2 wires. Come up between the bottom 2, go around 2 wires, come back up between the bottom 2, go around 3, come up between the bottom 2, go around 4, come up between the second and third, go around the top 4, come up between the bottom 2, then we go around the middle 4. Like I said, if you want to do another weave, it's entirely up to you. I just thought this would be something a bit interesting. Come up between the bottom 2, so now we go around 3. Go between the bottom two. Then we go around the two. Then we go around the bottom two 3 times. And then around the bottom wire. 3 times. I'm working in bare copper today. I've got all round wires. If you want to work in square, that's entirely up to you. So we're going to keep repeating this weave, and we've got to get all the way around our moon. So I've done 14 repeats of that weave, and you do have to keep pushing it together as you go. I was pushing it in between the repeats as well, just to get it all nice and tightly woven together. So that's 14, so I've got 5.5 inches that side, and you do have to measure it and keep checking, because as you're pushing it together, I tend to push it along that way. So you have to keep measuring this to make sure you're still in the right place. And there should now be 5.5 inches at this end as well. So next we're going to shape this to fit around the stone. So holding it with all the little points facing up, carefully bring that weave around, and you want it to go around the same angle as the moon shape of the stone. My stone is quite flat. If your stone is scooped, you could bend the weave over a little bit. Try and get it nice and central. And we'll take the inner wires around the scoop shapes at the top. So I'm going to take the 2 inner wires on both sides, and I'm going to scoop them in. Hold the moon in place the best you can. So bend those wires over the stone. Try and get it nice and central again against the stone. And we'll bring those wires out to the sides. And then we'll just take a minute to look over it and adjust those wires so they're nicely holding onto the stone. You want them to be at the same height as each other. So cut about 12 inches of weaving wire, and we'll do this on the one side, and then we'll have to do the same thing on the other side. So looking at the back, we're just going to join these 2 wires here. So turn to the back, and we've got the 4 wires are coming out nice and even, and it's all quite nice and straight and central. Then we need to cut, take some weaving wire, some fresh weaving wire, and you need about 12 inches. I've cut 12 inches. We're just going to weave across these 2 wires. So take your weaving wire that you've just cut, and we'll wrap 3 times around the bottom wire. slide that along, so that's going to be to the back of the stone, and we'll wrap around the 2 wires twice, and we'll come up between them, and we'll leave it there a second. Put your stone back in there. So this needs to be up the top there. Hold on a minute. Holding that in place and make sure it's all nice and central and straight. We're going to take this top wire. We're going to go over the side. So we're going over the side quite low down. I'm quite a distance from the tip. We're going to go so make sure you're holding your stone in place, and we're going to go straight across the front of the weave. So holding it down at the front there so it doesn't ride up, because the last thing you want is this to shift and this to end up wrapping up around here. And this wire comes over the back. And then make sure it's still nice and central and straight. And we'll go over that top wire. Gone around it a few times. And I'll post that wire through, going down the back. So we're going around the back, so we've gone around all 3 wires. And I'll go around that bottom wire just the once. And we'll just leave that for a moment. And if we can do the other side, we can keep leveling it up and evening it up. So I'm going to pull those wires over there for now. So holding it nice and central. Okay, so we're going to do this side, we need to cut another length of 12 inches of the weaving wire, and we'll attach it the same at the top. So we take the stone out. Just trying to sort out my wires. Turn it around. And we're going to weave across these 2 just to attach it together, and we're going to do the same weave as we did over here. So we start with 3 wraps around the upper wire because we're holding it upside down. Slide that along to the top back of the stone. So we go around 2 wires coming up in between. So we have to go around the 2 wires twice. Come up between them. Make sure it's pushed up nice and high. Then holding the stone in place, we take the top wire, which is now the bottom wire, we come over the side, and we need to go over it in the same place. So let's just turn it over. So on the left one, I came around at the end of the weave there. So this one needs to also come around, hold on, at the end of the weave. So give it a little pull so it's quite tight. We go straight across the front there, over the middle, and to the back. So we've turned it over and around, and we take the weaving wire around the top wire and we go down through the middle there. My weave has slid down, there we go. Then we wrap around that single wire there just to hold it for now, and we leave it there. Do you just want those wires tied together with a little bit? Because what we're going to do is we're going to use the wires to just hold the rest of the stone in, and then we're going to come back up and attach some more to here. So it seems all a bit fiddly at the moment, but it will hold better as soon as this stone is in. I'm going to cut those bits from the beginning because we have got lots of wires everywhere at the moment. So the idea is these upper wires are going to stay up and the lower wires are going to come around. They're going to go over the stone and they're going to join into the weave. So try and get them to go over in the same kind of place. Okay, so we're going to need another piece of weaving wire. So you're going to have to take all these weaving wires that we've already got, take them out the way for now. I'm going to attach this down to the weave on both sides and that will hold the stone in. I'll show you. So we're taking just this little tiny bit of weaving wire, it's at about 4 inches. We wrap around one of those back wires that's gone down the side there. This will look lovely when it's done, it'll all be worth it. Slide it along. And we're going to go through the big weave, so push your stone right up and you're going to push your wire through the weave, so you want to go between those little points that we did of the weave before. So I've come out the other side, I'll pull that through and then you want to post it back through in a different place so it doesn't come undone. So I've gone through, so I've come through one bit and I've gone through the next bit. So on the right side it looks like we've just wrapped around the weave. Hold on, I'm pulling the wrong one. And then we pull that all the way through. Pulling that wire back down to the weave. We'll wrap around that wire a couple of times and then we'll go back through the weave again, so we're attaching down to the weave twice and that will really hold it down securely in place. So I've joined again into the weave and then I've wrapped once around the back wire. Make sure that wire is pushed down against the stone, and already that's starting to hold the stone in place. So we'll just wrap another couple of times around that wire and we can cut that off and then cut it off at both ends. Then we're going to attach the other wire. So take this one you've just attached and just bring it up the middle for now so it's out the way. This wire comes over the side, down and across at the base of the weave, at the base of the stone, and we're going to attach into the weave. I attached here, so I'm going to attach here and just go into the weave a couple of times like we did and wrap around that single base wire in between, attaching, and when we finish with 3 wraps and cut it off so it's the same as this side. So I've joined that one like I explained. I'm going to cut it off at both ends. And then that wire comes up at the bottom, the same as that one. So you can see the joins to the weave, and if we turn it over, you can see where I've looped around just a little bit there and there on that one. So it's only minimal on the front. So if we turn back over to the back, these two wires now, they're going to properly hold our stone in. We want them to come up and meet and go out to the sides. And you want them to come up quite nice and tight. And we'll join them together there at the back. I think some of these wires are too long, and I'm going to correct on the screen so you don't have as many wires flailing about as I do. So you need just a little bit of wire. I've got this little cut end here, that'll do. I'll take that rough bit off the end. And I'm just going to tie these two together. So we'll wrap 3 times around the one. Slide it down to where they meet, and then we'll go 3 times around both wires, pulling them together nice and close. So I've gone 5 times around the two, so it's holding it quite nice and tightly, and then I'll go 3 times around this single wire, and I'm going to cut both ends. And we need to go over it and flatten down all those little cut ends. So looking at the back now, we've got these 2 bits of weaving wire that are from those weaves there. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring this around to join in there. And this one. And that will finish off holding the stone in. We just attach those into that little weave there. So we'll go posting it around the back. We'll go around the bottom 2 wires. We'll go around the bottom 2 wires a couple of times. So I've gone around twice, and then we'll go around, if you can go over that wire that goes around the front there. So we're going to go around the 3. And then I'll go over the top. Then I'll go around the 3 again. We're just tying it together, so if you want to do less wraps, it's up to you. Just my weaving wire is quite thin, so I want to get around it a few times. So then I'll go around the 3 wraps around that bottom wire. And we can cut that end off. So we need to attach this in the same. So I'm going to do the same weave. You can do anything you like. So just attaching it to, I'm going to wrap around 2 wires, and then 3, and then all 4, then 3, then 2, and then 3 wraps around that last wire. So I've joined the other one at the back there. You can cut that end off. Now press down all your cut ends with your pliers, and we can finish off these 4 wires at the back too. Cut the top 2 a bit shorter. Looks like a bit of a cat face. Then take your round nose pliers and we'll curl all those little ends. You want to really close your curls as well so that you don't catch on anything with it being the back of the piece. So then I just need to curl the other 2 as well. It does look a bit like a cat face. Anyway, yes, so back to the weaving. So now I'm going to continue weaving across these 4 wires. I'm going to cut them off nice and short. And then we're going to continue weaving across these 4 wires. Now, the weave is going to be similar, but obviously not the same because we've only got 4 wires. So wrap 3 times around the bottom wire. Push it right the way down. And we'll go twice around the bottom 2. Come up between those 2. Go around the middle 2. Come up between the bottom 2 again. We'll go around the top 3, come back up between the bottom 2, we'll go around the middle 2 wires, and then we'll go twice around the bottom 2, 3 times around the bottom wire. And again, keep pushing the weave together as you go. So we're going to do this cute little weave, and this is going to reach all the way up on both sides to meet at the top here. And you need a nice gap in the middle because we're going to add our little stone there. So this stone, once it's wrapped, needs to fit here in the middle. So these wires are going to come up to here. So you can work out roughly how much weave you need to do. So I'm going to start with about 4 or 5 repeats and then we'll work it out from there. So I've done 10 repeats of that weave. If your weaving wire is thicker than mine, you won't need as many repeats. This little thin wire that I'm using, you can do quite a lot of in a smaller space. Do you know what I mean? So I've done 10 repeats of that weave. I'll cut that end from the beginning. Keep pushing it down as you go. So that's going to come across the front a tiny bit of that stone and in towards a centre point here. So what we need to do now is do the same weave along here. I'm going to push that back a little bit just so it doesn't get in the way. Same weave across here So it's going to be upside down. So we're copying the weaves. So again, I'm going to cut this wire and add it back in. So I'm going to take my weaving wire. I'm going to cut 24 inches because I don't think that 12 inches is going to go very far. That was already attached. I'm going to start with 3 wraps around the top wire. So we wrap 3 times around the top wire, pull it all the way down. So we're working that same little weave upside down. So we go twice around the 2. Coming up between the bottom 2 wires. Go around 3 wires. No, we don't. We go around 2 wires, so we go in between those 2. In between the top 2, so we've gone around 2. Then we go around 3, again going in between the top 2 wires. Come up between those bottom 2 wires there. And we go around 2. Come up between the middle 2 wires. And we go twice around the top 2 wires. So we're doing the same weave, but we're doing it upside down. And then we go 3 wraps around the top wire. You need to keep pushing your weave together to keep it all nice and tidy. So push it together between each repeat. And we've done 10, so we'll do 10 on this side too. So I've woven along that side. So we need to cut off that end from the beginning of that weave on that side. Always press down those little cut ends. So next we need to wrap the small stone. So I think I'm going to leave it there and make this the end of part 1. And in part 2 we can wrap the stone, attach it in and finish it off at the top. I hope you found this easy to follow so far. Not a very easy one to make, but it's different, isn't it? I've worked it all out. I've done all the hardship, working out all the bits. If you can just get round handling all those weaving wires, hopefully it'll be a lot easier for you to do than it was for me to work it out. So that's the end of part 1, and I shall see you very soon with part 2. Bye for now. Bye.